Um, it's still Friday the 13th. August the 13th. It didn't click. It didn't click earlier when I said it that it's Friday the 13th. Not that it means anything. To me, anyways. Aside from, childhood fears or, oh, it's Friday the 13th. The lovely thing that happened today is La Luna me encaminó a casa, which was nice. It's always nice to see the moon during the day. And at 4:14 this afternoon, the moon walked me home. So that was lovely. But before that, I decided to go for a walk since, my day kind of, it seems like every day, like there's always like I start off with a plan and then it doesn't come out that way and then it just unfolds in a better way. I took advantage that it was still, it was sunny outside, and I went to go see my cousin and try the Sexy Sadie, which was amazing at Fayes coffee shop, and decided that I wanted to go to Dolores Park to read. And the walk was great. And I started up a conversation with her just to check in because I hadn't spoken to her since us going and spending time with my aunt, her mom. And in our conversation, it came up, just stuff that's been going on in the community, and that she started this healing circle for victims. And it just got me thinking, and it just got me thinking. And she's an activist, and she very proactive, and then we talked about her talk that's coming up, so I'm gonna attend that for sure. And there's this so anyways, I was we were talking about her book, and how I guess a lot of people in our family either didn't know that she had written a book or hadn't purchased it. I mean, I knew she had written a book a while ago and I had been wanting to purchase it, but I was a workaholic, so I didn't make time. And now that I found out, that it was the last copy for this edition, I wanted to make sure I got a copy of it. And we were talking about it, and she mentioned how she was, she had it in her mind that, some family members may not like it because of the, I guess what's shared. And I haven't read it, but I did read the commentaries on the inside, and it's clear, right? I mean, we were talking about just her reminiscing and realizing like where she was in that time of her life that she was writing it, So it's definitely one perspective, for sure. And then I went to Dolores Park. Great view, by the way. I mean, I continue to be blown away by, these places here in San Francisco. I mean, this park, not only does it have a great view, right? I love it because it's also the park in that scene of one of my favorite movies in Sweet November, when Keanu Reeves and Charlotte are walking down the hallway, or walking down the park, and I think they're eating ice cream. I want to say they're eating ice cream. I have to see the movie again to see if that's the right scene, but I'm pretty sure that's the scene. But anyways, I found a bench and sat down and looked at the view, and just was amazed at the number of people that were outside. I mean, a park in the suburbs, it does not look like this. And so it was nice to see how alive this park was, And just I peopled watched for a little bit. That was fun, and then I started reading my book. And it was an interesting chapter, and it talked about, right, that this the second chapter, and it's called Stalking the Intruder, the Beginning Initiation. And it talks about this myth and this idea about women and young girls being naive, right? Young girls being naive to a certain point because they're not developed. They haven't had the same level of experience. And then it also goes to the other extreme of there are also older women with a certain level of being naiveness. Again, because of not having had certain experiences and or just how we're being raised, right? We're being raised to be too nice and not allow ourselves the opportunity to follow our instinct and our intuition at a young age, which we already have it developed, but as a society we tend to block it from fully developing, right? Because we're trying to fit into this society. Whatever society you want to talk about, wherever part in the world, there's a certain element of us adjusting and conforming to the social norms, whatever that may look like. And so clearly it was like lifting up a mirror for me, being 40 years old, right? And this element of like not knowing how to date, learning how to date but not dating. Because I was thinking about it, I'm like, oh, I don't know how to date, but I keep saying that, right? I keep saying that to myself. I'm like, okay, I shouldn't say that to myself. What I need to say is that I'm learning how to date. But then there's that caveat of like, I'm learning how to date, but I'm not dating. So then how am I going to learn how to date, right? And then the other part is just like, well, I don't know. I'm not really interested in dating. I'm kind of dating myself, right? Learning about myself and exploring parts of myself in ways that I hadn't given myself permission to before. So, yeah. So that happened. So there's this continued theme of threes, if you will, in the sense of the polarity being presented in different ways, in different books, right? In different topics of conversation, of you know, I mentioned it to my cousin about how, I mean, she was just kind of floored about how certain organizations in the community are responding to this event that happened. And just kind of in shock. And then I said, you know, well, I think there was a level of disappointment as to how much more was being uncovered. So I shared with her, I said, you know, it needed to come out, right? There's a need for more of the truth to come out because that's how imbalanced the situation was. And so it's expected. She said, no, you're right. And so then it's this element of like, well, what do you do, right? When this truth becomes uncovered, right? How do you help reestablish this balance, right? In terms of how these structures are operating within society. Big question, right? Big global stuff to think about. And in all reality, it's I have no part in that, right? Even though I am now a person who lives in the city, I don't have ties aside from my cousin. And so then that started getting me thinking about, you know, how am I going to put myself, ingrain myself in the community, right? How do I want to be a part of this community without, and on my walk home, this constant theme of threes was coming up, and then I saw this really old school cart. Don't ask me what kind of car it is. I can draw it out for you. But I don't know what kind of, I mean, I could barely remember the type of car I drive myself. But the license plate said Tres Flores. It said Tres Flores. I was like, oh, that's neat. And then coming home, I look up and I see I have children's books. I collected children's books for a while back in the day, and there's a few books that I have because I love the art. And some books were given to me because of the art and wanting to make sure that the art gets preserved. And then other books I chose that they were meaningful for me in some form. And I realized I hadn't read all the books. And so one of the books was called The Three Questions by Leo Tolstoy. And Tolstoy, I think, if I pronounce it right. And I remember purchasing this book. It was a collection of books with the stone soup. And it was just like children's books that speak to themes, right? And fables and lessons learned. So I look up and I was just like, 3 questions, right? Another 3. And just trying to find a way to be a part of the community, but I don't want to be polarized. I don't want to be involved in one side or the other. I want to find something where it's balanced, where it's balanced, right? How and where can I volunteer or assist, right? A community in a way that's balanced, where I'm not, I don't feel like I'm being called to act, to advocate. Like I don't feel like I'm being called to protest. I don't feel like that's my calling. But I want to contribute, right? In a balanced way. So I was thinking about it. And then realizing, right, I'm just like, okay, 1, you don't volunteer yet. Don't jump in too quickly, because you're still trying to establish yourself here, right? Finding your balance with work and just life. So, okay, I'm aware of that. I'm just going with the flow, taking in the experiences, keeping mental notes for myself, and just learning really about my community and what's around me, and just finding a way to stay balanced within, right? First, before I jump into volunteer or do something. So I was having dinner and just that was still in my mind as to how I can do something like that, and realizing, right, that ultimately I want to do something where I'm incorporating these birth charts, right? Clearly it exists already all over the world. It's clearly offered now, but there isn't a strong emphasis on it in terms of the connection with mental health. So then I thought, okay, well, I bought that class, right? I need to start looking at it. And then I felt to myself, I'm like, there's all these healing circles, there's these new moon rituals, there's this traditional cultural experience that exists, right, within the Latino community, and you know, I'm pulled to do something there for sure, but again, making sure I stay balanced. So then I thought, well, how many people actually know about birth charts within that community, right? I mean, I speak the language, I read and write in Spanish. You know, could that be something that I offer, right? And then thinking back to what I had wanted to do initially, which was like some type of barter system where it's offered in exchange for like food or, you know, whatever the family can provide, right? So it's a service that I'm offering with no real ties, but just to offer a level of awareness for those who want it, who need it, to provide guidance, right? Just to see if it works. To see if it helps. And then just keep track of that. And maybe just keep track of their progress and I don't know. That came to mind. But yeah, just trying to figure that out. Trying to continue to feel my way around and, you know, find a way to become a part of the community. You know, create my own friends and not create, but meet other people, and people that I'm aligned with, you know, people that, I mean, I have my cousin, and she's introducing me to her friends, but it's, and I'm grateful for them for sure, but, you know, that's her life, that's her friends. Yeah. So, anyways, it's on my to-do list. But I need to finish cleaning up, I guess. So, that was all. Alright, take care. Bye. My name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us. In whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth, this just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience and that you find some type of truth for yourself, or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and